Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
Hey, this Wednesday is Valentine's Day. Are you giving or getting roses from your sweetheart or to your sweetheart? We're going to tell you how to make those roses last in our first segment.
Anybody can hand their sweetheart a dozen roses, but how about giving them a whole garden? We'll tell you how in our second segment.
When is a rose not a rose? When it's a Lenten rose, one of the earliest flowering perennials and one of our favorites, also known as hellebores, and that it's ready to bloom any minute. We'll tell you all about them during our third segment.
Our fourth segment is called Sex in the Garden. The birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. When did you think was going on in our pollinator garden? We'll explain in our fourth segment.
Oh, we received a call on the Bloomers in the Garden hotline asking, now what do I do with my poinsettia? We'll have the answer in our final segment.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome's Triple Action contains 70% neem oil and 0.25% pyrethrins as a concentrate and ready to spray. It is an insecticide, fungicide, and miticide labeled to use on vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs, spices, and ornamentals. This organic OMRI-listed product controls a wide variety of insect pests and diseases, including aphids, scale, spider mites, whiteflies, rust, leaf spot, and powdery mildew. This insecticide is an all-in-one bottle that will cure just about any problem you may run into throughout the year. Fertilome's Triple Action has been helping gardeners across the country for years. Best to apply in late evening and early morning hours. Mix 1 ounce, which is equivalent to 2 tablespoons in a gallon of water. The best part is Triple Action may be used up to the day of harvest. So the next time you are visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilome's Triple Action and expect to have the best-looking plants in the neighborhood.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Guys, the pressure is on you, and you better come through. Wednesday is Valentine's Day, and you better not forget the roses. Absolutely not.
None at all.
I have my own confession of a forgetful rose buyer.
Oh.
Look, we sell roses at Bloomers. I figured, it's it's too easy.
Too easy.
It's too easy. It's like,
there.
oh, great, you got me roses. You sell roses. What, these are leftovers?
These are leftovers.
And so, again, it's like I thought it through. Mistake.
Ooh,
yeah.
Mistake, huh?
Yeah, big mistake. Big mistake. I don't care if you're buying jewelry. I don't care if you're buying whatever. You better include the roses, because if you forget the roses, you're going to pay. Women want roses.
And you paid, huh?
Okay. It's put it this way. It was real clear. It was real clear. And I had to, and I had to, let's just say, I had to make up for my faux pas.
Oh, brother.
So anyway, I'm not even going to tell you the backstory. All right, I will. When Debbie was alive, and I bought my wife a Schroeder azalea for Mother's Day.
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, got it. So I never bought another thing that Bloomers sold ever again.
Never again.
Quit smirking, Aaron. Yeah. So it was a mistake. And so I'm, now that Debbie passed and with Danielle and she's getting roses this Valentine's Day. You can guarantee that.
That's right.
I'm tempted to actually buy them from another shop.
Oh, I think so.
Oh, yeah. You spend there. I get them wholesale. Anyway.
Oh, my goodness.
So, Julio, where do roses come from? I mean.
Yes. Yeah. They're not coming from, well, some can come from America, but, most of them come from Colombia, and they're one of the leaders, by the way. So South America is where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And so Colombia is about 78% of the crop that's coming in.
Right.
And Ecuador follows that with 15%. And then you got Mexico at 2%. So, we have the Latin countries giving us a lot of the flowers.
Right. But then there's also a lot of cut flowers come from Israel, of all places.
Right.
The whole saying of making the desert bloom. And Kenya.
Kenya.
So it's interesting. It's like
it is.
flower, and it's just a business. And that it's kind of a mystery. Where do they come from? Where do all the flowers come from? Right. So, I mean, it's...
we're talking about a lot of flowers here, huh, Len?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's not only roses, but it's also different types of mixed bouquets and things. Mm-hmm. But then there are other things like say, mums and things like that. And also in South Jersey, that there's a lot of growers of like gladiolas and things like that. Sure. So interesting.
Interesting. Very.
And so, so I warned you about getting your roses. Don't go to the gas station and get the 2 dozen for $29.99. Okay. What's the difference? The roses that you get at your local garden center or florist. And again, you're not buying them in the grocery store. Please. I mean, they don't treat them the same. Mm-hmm. And that the actual grade is superior at the florist and at the garden center. And it's by stem length, really, that they, you go in and you bring, here you go, baby, here's those roses. And all of a sudden, the stems are about six inches long. It's like, put them in the vase. And then you have to look down inside the vase.
Yeah, where is it?
Florist roses are going to be 20 inches stem length, and that the flowers will be will open larger, and that it's just a better. You want to make an impression. Make sure that you don't skimp on your roses. You're going to spend, $70 to $100, depending if you want them in a vase, do you want them in a box. Right. I won't eat roses, Sam. I am. But the difference is that the presentation, when you eat a good meal, right? Yeah. It's not always actually the food, but how it looks when it comes out. It's like, oh my gosh, it looks fantastic. And then you devour it and and you still think it's good. Where if it didn't have that presentation, it may not be so good. Yeah. You can't get away with that with gas station roses.
Oh no.
Okay. And again, going to the local garden center or independent garden center or going to the local florist is the way, again, to make that impression. Especially those that anybody out there new dating, new girl. Mm-hmm. It's not too early. Okay? I don't want to give her the wrong impression. Yeah, anyway. So, and again, when you get your roses, that this is the care of the roses afterwards, okay? The big show goes on, they get the roses, they're all happy, but then you want to make sure that you give those roses a fresh cut. It's almost like a Christmas tree. that you go out and you give the roses a fresh cut, and you want them to be at a little bit of an angle so there's more surface area for the water to be absorbed. You absolutely want to use the little food packet that you get. If you have any leftover prolong from your Christmas tree, that is actually the same ingredient that you use for your Christmas tree that they use in cut flower preservation. You want to cut them under water. Aaron, I know you know a lot about cars. Do you ever siphon gas?
I've never had to, but I've watched my dad do it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So we had an old Cutlass Supreme, and he wanted to save the gas. It was a full tank of gas in there. He was like, he was not letting that gas go to waste.
when you siphon gas or you siphon anything,
yes,
I had to do a water change in a fish tank, siphon the thing. If you get an air bubble in that, it stops the flow of water or gas or what have you. And the same thing acts in a rose. So when you cut your roses, cut them underwater, get them back in the water right away, because you don't want there to be that kind of air bubble that will stop the absorption of water. And then your roses will just kind of look funny and they won't seem to be, or there'll be a couple that look odd. You want to do it and make sure you do it that way because it's important. All right. So you go ahead and do that. And still, all of a sudden, one of the roses looks like it's hanging over. It looks like it's just hanging its head. I give up. Cut it again. Okay. And what that will do, make sure it's underwater and that it may absorb that water and become upright again. And if not, that a florist trick is that you take a light gauge wire and you wire it straight, starting with the base of the bud, and then wire it to the stem, and then that will help it to absorb that water. And make sure when you're cutting them, you're going to use a sharp pair of garden shears. Don't use scissors. The scissors aren't going to do as good a job. If you have garden shear scissors, then okay. Again, it's important that you could do this on a regular basis and keep an eye on the water. You'll be amazed on how much water that they'll absorb. It's an amazing thing where that you'll see your vase or wherever you're keeping the water. If you look down, it's all of a sudden it's empty. And it's like, how can it be absorbing that much water? But it does. You don't want to put it in an area where there's a lot of sunlight. You don't want to put them in the direct sun. You don't want to put them near heating vents. Anywhere where there's grass. And here's something that some people don't realize. Like if you're waiting to give your roses and you have them stored, like say you put them in the refrigerator and it's next to like the fruit bin, not a good idea. The ethylene gas that fruit produces is going to make your roses become more, they're going to ripen basically. Wow. So again,
Careful.
Take care of your roses. And that again, it's something that every woman wants to get.
Yes.
They'll don't fall for it. Oh, no, I don't want anything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Don't. This is a one time,
right.
Guys. You can get it right.
Right.
This is one time. So again,
that's right.
Don't skip the roses.
Oh,
okay. And I don't care. Like I said, if you may have a $1,000 jewelry going to her, but if the roses aren't there, that's going to look like a 29-cent thing that you got from the bubblegum machine because she wants the roses to go with it.
Yeah, we know that. I like
That's right. And another quick tip that I got from a female.
Right.
Get the roses delivered to the office.
Oh, wow.
When she gets to show off that her man gave her roses,
right.
and all those other ladies are going, "Oh, look what you got."
Oh, that's even better, huh?
That's it. That's it. Well, all right.
Thing, huh?
That's it. If you've got any questions about the love life, call Julio.
That's right.
At the Bloomers Hotline, 609-685-1880. We'll be right back right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Are you looking forward to a spring of vibrancy while using the best organically approved growing media for your annuals and vegetables? Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter has been created to set a diverse culture ideal for germinating seeds and root cuttings. Created using the best ancient composting techniques and new age mixing devices, Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter gently combines kelp meal, worm castings, mycorrhiza, perlite, and sustainably harvested peat moss, establishing the most desirable setting to enhance new plant growth. Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter is available at these local retailers, or visit www.coastofmaine.com to locate one near you.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, PA. Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, PA. Sickles, Little Silver, New Jersey. Wanting to up your game in the vegetable garden? With 90 years of organic gardening experience, the Espoma Company has you covered. Espoma Organic Garden Tone is not your average garden variety fertilizer. Garden Tone is especially blended for organic vegetable gardens. Its all-natural formula contains Biotone, a blend of organic ingredients that supplies essential nutrients for strong, healthy plants and mouth-watering vegetables. Its slow-release formula provides continuous feeding. The Biotone contained in Garden Tone is a combination of organic ingredients and beneficial microbes to help roots grow deeper and faster for bigger, more bountiful harvests. Garden Tone is simple to use and safe for people, pets, and the planet. No harmful chemicals or synthetic fertilizers are ever added. You can find Garden Tone at fine garden centers. Visit espoma.com to find a retailer near you. Garden Tone from Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
I never promised you a rose garden along with the sunshine.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Now you can promise that rose garden.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. God, that song reminds me of long trips in a station wagon.
It does.
Anyway, AM radio.
Reminds me
When
of
AM
Happy
radio
Days.
was king.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like something I heard on Happy Days for some odd reason.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Monday, Tuesday, Happy Days. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Bill Haley in the Comets.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can get roses or you can plant a rose garden.
Wow.
Get the roses and plant the rose garden. You know, it's a shame where so many roses now are shrub roses, right, Julio?
Oh, yeah. Everybody has knockouts.
Knockouts.
That's a big one right there.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm done with it. I want the old hybrid tea, Floribunda, grandiflora, the ones that are like real roses, like you get at Valentine's Day, the ones that are big flowers and that are different colors.
That's right. You can bring it to your house and put them in a vase.
Absolutely. Queen Elizabeth, Mr. Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, Peace. My favorites, Cary Grant.
Oh, Cary
Grant.
Yeah.
Yes, we are definitely going down memory lane here.
We are.
It's an orange Floribunda, real fragrant. I tell you what, hybrid teas are the way to go. And then, again, with the greater flower, right? We were talking about this morning in the office, and its polyantha types are the ones that have more flowers on it and, like, let's say less stems. Similar to how a shrub rose has it, but not a shrub rose. Don't plant a hedge of knockouts and say, "Here, baby, here's your roses." It's like, oh yeah. Great. It's like me giving an azalea. It's gonna fall flat. Because what you want to do is you want to create a garden of different plants, not just a hedge. And you're looking forward, and when you go to your garden center, you're going to have to ask, because some people have only in stock like again, shrub roses or drift roses, which are like a ground cover rose, because they're used more of a flowering shrub than they are used as a real rose. And I know that this sounds confusing, but a hybrid tea is going to give you that flower that you're looking for, that you want to cut and bring it inside the house and to use in cut flowers inside the house. Real fragrant. Grandifloras are also good. And again, this is the type of rose that a grandiflora is a cross between a hybrid tea and a floribunda. Like floribundas, they usually have clusters of blooms. Like the hybrid teas, they inherited the larger flowers. So now you're talking about longer stems, larger and larger flowers, but it's in clusters. Climbers are something, if you've got the spot, and they're trainable on fences and trellises and such. And that there's also the Rosa rugosa.
Right.
You're right. You know, it's like a weedy rose. So don't get fooled by those. They are great because they can basically take almost any condition. But again, shrub roses. English roses. They're a winner.
That's right.
The David Austin type roses.
Beautiful.
They're definitely good. And you can mix roses in your perennial bed. You know, you don't have to have just perennials in your perennial garden. You can mix it up and you can have everything from dwarf conifers to roses, and that'd be a great place. And some smart growers like Center to Nursery, they have a series called Hassle-Free Roses. And it's branded roses that are easy to care for, and it's all different types. It's everything from hybrid teas and floribundas and such. So if you go, you'll get an easier to care for. But again, check with your local garden center and that they'll help you develop that garden. And again, it's a great promise with a little note inside a card when you give the roses, especially those who know that their loved one loves roses. Plant a garden. It lasts a whole lot longer than the dozen does. So you'll have roses all year round. And again, it's something to do. And I really want to see, okay, like I said, I'm kind of done with shrub roses. And it's because they've taken away from what a real rose is like.
That's right.
Yes, shrub roses are nice. They have their place, but they're not the cutting rose that you want. Yeah. So again, go to your local garden center. They will help you out. Anything to add, Julio?
Yeah, I think you're talking about all these knockouts. I think people are going to say, "Oh, look, a hybrid tea. What's that all about? It's something new."
It is because we've gone almost a generation away from the hybrid teas and floribundas and such. Yeah. Again,
I have a question. So,
yes.
Especially when it comes to the knockout varieties,
right?
I have Mi Petites, right? The newest,
the petite
knockouts,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're really they're tiny, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to is that considered a hybrid?
It is
in a sense,
but it's not new.
Okay.
Dwarf miniature roses have been around forever, but because it's a branded knockout, and it's a great rose, more like a border or something that doesn't get. How long did you have them in?
Just a year.
Yeah, I mean they're only going to get to be about 18 inches, maybe 2 feet, real tight and compact. It's not like you're going to take a cutting and bring that inside.
Right.
You know, a little bud vase maybe.
Okay.
But it's just different where, you know, I have a hybrid tea at my house in just one spot. By my garbage cans. My best stuff is at my garbage cans. It's actually by the driveway. Yeah. And that where it gets to be about 4 feet tall. It's big.
That is,
you know,
huge.
and that it does require spraying. It does require pruning. You know, one rule of thumb, never forget this, is that when you go to prune your roses, always go below the 5th cluster of leaves. Otherwise, you'll form buds that form more foliage If you don't, if you go below that 5th cluster of leaves, it'll form buds and flowers. So there's a lot to know. There's a lot to know. But promise that rose garden, because it honestly, it's not that hard, and that it requires just a little bit of maintenance that you can do. And it's just spraying it to keep the insects away and the disease away. It's usually one combination product. It's not like it's, you got to baby them every week. It's, maybe, every other month, maybe, depending on what the season is like. And it's just feeding them. You just take care of them. It's not that difficult. So promise that rose garden. So flowers in a rose garden. So there you go.
There you go.
That'll work.
Yeah.
And don't promise just the rose garden, okay? No empty gifts. All right, we're going to be back in the garden right after this, talking about when a rose isn't a rose.
Oh.
We'll be back in just a moment. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
If you're like me, then you absolutely love birds. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center has you covered. They're dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds of all sorts. Want to bring more birds to your yard? Then you got to see this place. Bloomers has a huge flock of feeders, birdhouses, birdseed, and much, much more. Want to feed the birds and not the squirrels? They have this absolutely cool bronze bird feeder that will drive those sneaky squirrels nuts. They'll be moving to the next door neighbor in no time. OMG. Bloomers have these absolutely adorable birdhouses that will turn your yard into the perfect bird B&B. They carry all types of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. Bloomer stocks Lyric, Coles, CNS, Pine Tree Farms, and much, much more that will keep those beautiful birds coming back for more. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County. For more information and directions, check them out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center, you got to see this place.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len. He's Julio. There's Aaron. And behind the glass, we've got Sam. All right. Hellebores, also known as the Lenten rose. And they really aren't a rose, but they're called the Lenten rose. But they are one of the earliest blooming perennials, and an evergreen, mind you, that there is. Julio, you are my hellebore expert, and I'm going to ask you some questions.
All right.
One, how are your hellebores?
Oh, they're beautiful.
Have they flowered yet?
Not yet. I
The
got
buds-
buds are going to pop.
You had buds in January.
That's right.
And
Beginning of it, January.
and are they starting to stretch now? Are they, because they bloom for a long time? Like it'll bloom all the way into almost June.
June almost, yeah.
It's
It's amazing. My buds are so thick. and big.
Yeah, they're
ready to pop.
swelling. They're
Yeah,
swelling.
up. Yeah. They're
Are they
ready-
getting taller?
No, they're getting
Because
like,
when
more-
you sometimes with again a hellebore or a Lenten rhodes, you look down in the center, and in the center of the plant, amongst the leaves, you see all of these little they look like little lollipops, and that they're starting to swell with color, and that you don't necessarily see them
no, you don't.
coming out of the plant, but they eventually stretch.
Do a little bit, yeah.
And where the stems go and they'll stretch out, and then they'll be again like a lollipop with a taller stem.
Yeah, they've gotten taller a little bit, and they're starting to spread out a little bit more. And
What color are they?
I have one that's they're white and then green in the middle.
White and green in it. Do you remember the variety?
It's the it starts with an F. The we have it here. Let me see.
Is it Frost Kiss?
Frost Kiss, yes.
Okay.
That's the one. Yep.
All right. And it's not the Winter Angels. It's the
Yeah.
Frost Kiss.
The Frost Kiss has the leaves have the marbled.
Okay.
They're marbled.
And
to it.
what's exciting about them is that the fact that they can grow in the shade,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
they can grow in the sun, but expect them to go dormant in the summer.
So, yeah.
But the one thing that's changed is that the new varieties have completely changed the use of this perennial. They used to, it's hard to see the old flowers because they bloom hanging down. They're pendulous. So when you have them planted in a garden, they're showing the flowers to the ground, not up where you can see and look into them. But the new varieties, and again, we talked about Frost Kiss, that's a series of different colors that again, the plants, their flowers are pointing up to the sun, and that you can see the colors, and that it's an amazing change that has now taken where hellebores were originally. They would say that they bloom for only about 6 weeks in the beginning of winter, and they associate it with the Christian season of Lent, Lenten rose, and that's where they get their name. And that it now is really an ornamental plant superior to what the old style was. And longer bloom time. They can grow in wet areas. You have a wet area in the shade, like in a woodland setting, perfect. To me, it really should be. Let me say something really quick. They're not cheap. They're not cheap. They're on the expensive side, but it's because of the newness to the varieties. It's also the way that they are propagated. There's more to it than just it's a plant that they grow from a seed. No, it's not that. And you want to look for that Frost Kiss series. Also, there's a variety of white that has really large flowers, and again, upright, showing them so you can see them, called Winter Angels, and that they are also incredible. And they really deserve a place where and again, they're tough. And they're evergreen in the shade. If they're in the sun, when it gets really hot, they'll go dormant. Don't think they're dead. They just are disappearing for a while, and that they'll come back. And do yours stay?
My
Hellebores.
oh yeah, they stay.
Yours stay.
Oh, yeah.
And that, do you have them in the shade or they sun?
They're half a day in the morning sun.
Morning sun.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, it took 10 years for them to breed the new varieties. I don't know. It is something that you should go out and get, and you get them early. And that right now they're starting to get their buds to where they're actually coloring up. I'd say their peak is probably, I don't know, mid-March. Mid-March. And as far as being available at your local garden center, you may not be able to find them just yet, but hey, check. Check, because again, that variety, and look for the Frost Kiss and Winter Angels. They are just incredible.
They are, yeah.
And there's a honeymoon series too that some people think it's really cool because they're actually one of the varieties, the flower is almost black.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
different.
Different, yeah.
Different. But prefer again the shade. They'll grow in sun, but will get to the point where they will burn a little bit in the sun. The foliage is evergreen.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
In the shade. And that it's a mottled green with like really light specks in it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it will fill out. And to me, it kind of like would be a replacement for, say, Pachysandra.
Yeah. Spreads out. Yeah.
Respects its borders, is not going to be an invasive, like, say, English ivy or anything like that. And again, in the shade. I mean, every challengeable spot, wet shade.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a tough plant. I'd never seen anything on it, disease-wise or insect-wise.
Yeah.
Never have.
Yeah.
I've had it for years.
Do you still water it and feed it?
I don't do any of that.
You don't do anything.
No.
And that's what I have found.
Yeah.
That they just kind of take over and just take care of their own. If you're going to feed them, they want to be a little bit, like a holly tone would work perfect because they're a little bit acidic. The flower colors, apricot, black, mauve, purple, white, yellow, wine red, pink. It's not your old Lenten rose.
No, it's not.
It's not your old. So look for the Frost Kiss and the Winter Angels series of hellebores, Lenten rose. And again, go to your local garden center because they are going to have the newest and latest and greatest varieties.
Best. Yes.
So go in there and ask for them. And that if they're not in yet, they'll be in soon.
They will.
So, and they'll let you know. It's like, oh, we're going to get them in 2 weeks. We're going to get them in, say a month. But you'll be able to find them. Like we had ours probably through May.
Oh, yeah.
So, and again, it's a great plant.
Great plant.
Early. Here comes spring.
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Love it.
Love it.
All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomer's Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
I've been really trying, baby. Trying to hold on.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. If you have a pollinator garden, expect a lot of hanky-panky going on. Here's some basic plant biology you should know.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is. I mean,
There
people
is.
think of their pollinator garden, it's all about the bugs. Right. Not so. Not so. Yeah, butterflies and bees and the trees and yeah, all those things. Right. But hey, let's start from the beginning, okay?
Right.
It said, God said, be fruitful and multiply. Okay? And that's what that whole garden is meant to do. Not insects,
Yeah.
but seeds and it says, right, it biblically, it said, and God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its own kind, whose seed in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herbs yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit. It's all about pollinating the pollinator plants.
That's right. It's all good.
It's all good.
Yes.
It's all good. So, and that what happens is that it's important for the insects to be pollinating the plants, okay? And that it helps the bees collect pollen and to take care of the hive. And it does help the butterflies to feeding on nectar, but it also helps the plants. Now, I get a little twisted with people that think that there's invasive plants, like, you know, butterfly bush was an invasive plant. And I understand it. So they make sterile plants that are only propagated through cutting and therefore that they can't reproduce on their own. And we have to remember that. And here's the thing. I looked at somebody's tattoo recently and that they were lilies. You know, lilies on and I'm looking at the lilies and like an idiot like I am. and I'm like, there's something wrong. There's parts of the plant missing. It showed all of the pollen, but it didn't show the stigma that was supposed to collect the pollen, and therefore the plant couldn't pollinate.
At all.
All right. Now, you must be cross-eyed at this point, those listening to this. But think about this. If your vegetable plants don't get pollinated, you don't have any fruit or vegetables. So if you go and you look at, say, you grow squash or cucumbers, and you see bees that are going inside that flower, that they're pollinating that plant so that you have the production of the actual vegetable that you're looking for. Same thing with tomatoes. Sometimes there's a product that's out there that's called Blossom Set Spray because your tomato plants may not be getting pollinated. And that's where put some of those pollinator plants in your garden, you know? And then all of a sudden, you know, that's where the sex in the garden comes from,
Right.
where those plants need to be pollinated in order for there to be production. We've talked on the show about how that tractor trailer loads of bees get sent to California to pollinate almonds and to pollinate different types of vegetable crops so that they can get the production they need. Instead of thinking of just a pollinator garden as something that's going to attract the bees and that's it, extend it to your other plants. Berry production, you want to have production of, say, on your hollies, you want to see pretty red berries. They better get pollinated and cross-pollinated because they need a male and a female plant in order to get it on. And or else there's not going to be any berries. And it's important to know. I had to laugh as I'm basically creating this outline. I had a professor in college, and I had floral design class. And like, I know everybody's done this. Like they've gone to the flowers on whether it's a tree or a shrub or the cut flowers they just got, and they smell great. And they put their nose right into the middle of the flower and breathe in. You know, he said, you know, that anybody who does that is putting their nose in the middle of the sex parts of a plant.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And those flowers smell like that to draw the insects to pollinate them.
Into the plant.
To pollinate them.
Yeah. So the actual flower has sexual parts to it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Created male and female.
Male and female, that's right.
Send your hate mail to Julio Zamora, care of Bloomers in the Garden.
But that's important to know because, this is the whole process. Right?
Well, it's the process of production. Like a lot of things, like for instance, like when we cut our grass, there's a reason we cut our grass. We don't necessarily want it going to seed. There are some, like our lettuce plants. When you grow lettuce plants, you want to harvest the lettuce before they bolt and they get a seed head. So there are certain things you need to learn about things. And this is one of the things, the biology part of gardening, that's important to know. Every time a plant is pollinated, a seed, a fruit, or a vegetable is created.
Amazing.
Except the ones that are sterile. And that they, I talked recently to a few different perennial production people, and I told them, I said, like, can you create a sterile lithrum? And that I'm asking them to create a variety of this flower that's considered invasive, but has so many great attributes, where it grows, how it grows, can be used to cut flower, can be used in a perennial garden, easy to care for. But because it's considered a invasive species, it's not good. And just like how the varieties of Buddleia, butterfly bush, are considered invasive, they've created varieties that are sterile.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Amazing.
but what you need to do is that pollinator garden, keep in mind that it's not just for the bugs. Okay? It's not just...
They have a purpose.
Yeah, that they are helping to basically spread, and also for the health of the plant, where they'll cross-pollinate. Same thing with fruit trees. Fruit trees need to be pollinated in order for you to get a crop.
Yeah.
So, again, you have to be careful about your spray times. You have to use certain types of sprays. And it's important just to keep that in the back of your head, that these, for us to get fruit or to get berries or to get a result from this, we need to have them pollinated. And I would suggest, if you are a gardener, to put that pollinator garden right next to your vegetable garden.
Yep.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Boy, how great would that be?
That's right.
You're getting your pollinators.
That's right.
Yeah.
And just it's important to know that the plants and the grass were created on the third day.
That's right.
Okay. And God was busy on the sixth day, and that's when the land animals and man was created. So there was an important order to these things.
There's an order,
But again, just Julio, did you have anything to add to this conversation with?
No, it's amazing how it all has to come together, and it does.
Right.
I mean,
right.
And like you're saying, there's an order to this. There's a purpose to this.
That's right.
And we have to understand that because, that's how life is.
That's right.
It just doesn't pop up.
That's right. That's right. Vegetables just don't appear.
Yeah.
There's some stuff going on
That's
in
correct.
the garden.
That's right.
Again, for it to materialize, it's all about getting those plants pollinated, and that again, cross-pollinating makes new different plants. It also makes the species stronger.
It does.
Again, pollinators and the pollinator garden, don't just think about pretty butterflies. Think about the fact that they're drawing those insects that are going to pollinate your other plants. Okay? Important to know. Important to know. Anything to add?
No.
All right. So our sex in the garden is finished. We'll be right back right after this. Some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor organic potting soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is available at these local retailers: Barlow's, Seagirt, New Jersey; Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Monton, Pennsylvania; Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouse, Mechanicsburg, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, Sandra from Philadelphia, you called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline, and you asked how to take care of your poinsettia year-round. Here, listen to her call.
I have a beautiful poinsettia, and I would like you to send me the information how to take care of it for a year. I want to send a couple of my friends that have it too. Thank you. Please let me hear from you. I enjoy your program.
Thank you, Sandra. We appreciate that.
Yeah, very nice.
We have a poinsettia care sheet that we hand out with each poinsettia, and it basically is the care for what they need during the holiday season. But there is a gentleman, Dr. Leonard Perry, and he is a professor at the University of Vermont, and he authored Caring for Your Poinsettia Year-Round, and he did it by holiday, and I just absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So New Year's, we're beyond New Year's, so we're not going to worry about that. But Valentine's Day, check your plant for signs of insects such as white fly. They're going to be those little tiny white, like winged insects, real tiny. You barely see them, but they'll move around if you shake the plant. And you want to make sure that you use Triple Action from Fertilome. That is a great product. It's a combination of neem oil. It just is perfect for indoor plants. St. Patrick's Day. So you're going to wait till March, and you're going to prune off any of the faded and dried parts of the plant, get the leaves off the soil, add some more potting soil. The roots are visible. And if your plant it's become long and leggy, cut it back to about 5 inches tall to promote more compact roots. So now you're going to start taking care of it as a house plant. And you're going to continue keeping the plant, you want it in a bright, sunny window. Memorial Day, into the end of May, trim off 2 or 3 inches of the plant to promote more side branching. And this is how it stays nice and full. If you don't, it's going to get real leggy and tall, and your flowers are going to be way too much on the top, and it's going to look bare from the bottom to the first 6 to 8 inches. So again, you can transplant it at that time, which is a great idea. It'll hold more water and moisture in it. And you can even move it outside and put it in indirect light. And again, you can transplant it like Aaron did into his garden. He planted it right in the soil.
Yeah, but don't do it in February.
Yeah, well, don't do it in February. No. This is around Father's Day, 4th of July. Yeah, you're going to trim 4th of July. You want to trim it again and keep it in full sun. Continue to water and feed it. And that will help it to grow. And you're going to use a Jack's. You can use Jack's fertilizer. It's a great water soluble. Labor Day is when you plant it back up and bring it inside. And you want to start giving it, being more conscious really of its light requirements. And that you want to give it more light and get it to grow as much as possible, because September 21st is when you've got to interrupt the cycle of light and darkness. You have to give the plant 16 hours of uninterrupted darkness and that 8 hours of bright sun every day in order for you to get flowers at Christmas. If you don't do that you're not going to have, your flowers are going to be at a completely off different time. Temperatures you keep lower. 60 degrees. So if you have like an unheated porch or something like that where you get good light, you can put it there. If not, just keep it in your house. And just, again, you want to keep it watered, but you have to get back and forth. Again, 16 hours of darkness, 8 hours of sun. It's important. You don't want to mess that up because you won't have the flowers at the right time. You're going to stop around Thanksgiving and put the plant in a sunny area that gets 6 hours, a minimum of 6 hours direct light, and reduce the amount that you're watering. You don't want to keep it too wet, and you want to reduce the fertilizer. It will start to color up around Thanksgiving. You'll see the changes, and it's all sparked from that time when you're putting it into 16 hours of uninterrupted darkness. If you don't have like a safe spot to make it dark, you can put a box over it. You can do something, but it has to not get any light during that time from September 21st all the way till almost Thanksgiving. Wow. And again, you're moving it in and out. It is a pain, but your success will make it worthwhile. And then once you get to Christmas, it's like having a brand new poinsettia all over again.
Wonderful.
Anything to add, Hul?
Yeah, I love the way he set it up. It's easy to remember.
Yes.
You're going by holidays here.
You just add it to the calendar.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back in the garden right after this. Coast of Maine's Organic Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the best soil for raised bed gardens, planter boxes, and container gardens. It grows amazing vegetables. It is made with a mixture of manure compost, worm castings, lobster and kelp meal, mycorrhiza, green sand, and biochar. It's ready to use straight out of the bag with no need for additional components or tilling. If you love growing fresh and hearty vegetables, herbs, and flowers, Coast of Maine's Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the perfect choice for you. At Coast of Maine, we believe in growing organically and buying locally. Castine Organic Raised Bed Mix can be found at these fine stores.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey.
Well, me and Julio are short on time.
Yes,
we went a little long, so we are going to see you in the garden right here the same time next week.